Welcome in to the Face Mask Podcast.
You already know. I mean, I assume if you clicked on it, you already know what we are.
Well, if you didn't know before,
if you don't know now, you know.
You're gonna. Well, I was just gonna say you're eventually going to know. I was not gonna go with the cliche, but
the Biggie reference. It's not cliche. It's a Biggie reference. Come on, man.
It's still cliche. Everybody knows what the reference is.
Biggie references will never be cliches. Personal opinion.
That's fine. John Alsace, Nick Payne, as always, a little bit more off-season content for you today.
We're bringing back a segment that you guys haven't heard from in a while. And this is one of the teams we actually touched on the last time that we did that segment. And that's Backfield Breakdown.
Backfield Breakdowns. Let's go. Yeah, today we're going to try to take a very early look at what the Seattle backfield could look like in 2021 because it's very much up in the air. Earlier this week, the Seahawks basically didn't commit to bringing Chris Carson back, who's an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with their current cap situation because, I mean, I would be under the impression that a guy like Chris Carson is going to want to break the bank out there, being a 7th round pick himself. And, you know, this is his time to get it. This is his time to get that money. He's been underpaid his whole career.
Yeah, he's not a guy who's, unfortunately, because of the position he plays and because of his draft capital, he's never going to get a really big contract. But if he were ever to get any type of payday, you would think it would come in this offseason. And with the situation that the Seahawks face with their cap, it's looking unlikely that he returned to Seattle, especially when Seattle pretty much said they said it's 50-50 that he's back. And when you get anything less than a ringing endorsement in the NFL,
especially from Pete Carroll, because Pete Carroll gives out ringing endorsements to complete strangers.
Right. He told me how awesome I am at football, and I've never played football. Exactly. So the days for Chris Carson in Seattle appear to be over unless he were to want to take a significant pay cut. And why would he? So, with that being said, Seattle has an interesting offseason ahead of them. They seriously need to address the offensive line, not just for the run game, but also Russell Wilson wants to see changes along the offensive line. And they don't really have a ton of cap room as it currently stands.
Yeah, right now, as it stands, they have $2.3 million in cap space, which is a lot more than a lot of other teams. But it's still not a lot to work with. So you can see why Chris Carson isn't going to be taking a hometown discount to stay with the Seahawks there, because he's obviously worth more than $2.3 million.
Yeah, somebody would be able to, or should be willing to give him a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Even in a COVID year, like this next one coming up, where we're going to be seeing salaries that are on the lower end of things than we've seen historically. But we got to look at the stable that they're left with in terms of the running backs that are currently signed to the Seahawks moving into the 2021 season, and that's Rashad Penny, who's been there for 3 years now, and just we've seen flashes, but he's never put it all on the table here, and he's an injury risk.
We could count the number of flashes on one hand.
Yeah, and yeah, on JPP's one hand.
Oh no!
But and then we got DJ Dallas, who wasn't used very often last year, and kind of seemed like he was benched after like the one game where he got a full workload. He
played 2 games essentially out of necessity because Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde were injured. They also had Travis Homer on the roster. Actually have to look up his roster status, but Seattle was decimated for a couple.
He's still there.
Okay, but they were decimated for a couple of games due to injury. So DJ Dallas went in out of necessity, scored 20 fantasy points in one game. I think he had 10 or 11 in another, and then that was the last that we had heard of him.
The yards per carry average just wasn't there for him, and he wasn't doing everything that he was promised to do coming into the season. And then we got Carlos Hyde. who was in his age 30 season, rushed for 356 yards and 4 TDs back there. He got 81 rushes in that backfield. So we got a fair amount of work to be divided up here. Because if we look at Chris Carson got 141 rushes last year. That was through 12 games. In his 2 full seasons, and I say full in quotations, he played 14 games in 2018 and 15 in 2019. He had 247 rushes and 278 rushes. So he was a sub 300 touch rusher.
So he doesn't have a ton of work on him.
Right. But looking at that from a perspective of the guys that are there.
Oh, yeah.
Is Rashad Penny, do you hypothesize that Rashad Penny is now the guy that is going to be getting 250 touches a year?
I think this literally now doing this episode with you, John, here right now has made me realize I think Rashad Penny might be worth a flyer in quite literally every single best ball that you do this year, because we assume Chris Carson is gone. Carlos Hyde is an unrestricted free agent. So, yeah, they drafted Penny in the first round. I know we're several years removed from this at that point, but remember, when Penny got drafted, pretty much everybody, draft pundits, teams, our grandmothers, had Penny as a 3rd round grade, and the Seahawks took him in the 1st round. So they must like something about him. The draft capital is working heavily in Penny's favor here, just out of opportunity. Penny's looking like he's going to get first crack at the starting job. I to the point of the cap situation, I don't really think they could afford anybody, even, your 2nd or 3rd tier free agent running backs.
Now, my one issue with that here is Rashad Penny has been one of the most injury-prone players in the league over his last 3 years, because this is now his 4th year in the league. And one of the knocks that the Seattle Brass has against Chris Carson is that he hasn't been the most durable back. 2 years ago, they went to the playoffs. They had to bring in a retired Marshawn Lynch to come back in and be their playoff battering ram because they didn't have Chris Carson at the end of the season. This in 2019 coming into 2020, he put up his least amount of games through 16 games. He only played 12 since his rookie season when he only played 4. This is a team that, despite having one of the best pound for pound rushers in the league, he just couldn't stay healthy. Could not stay healthy. And Rashad Penny's that times 2.
The thing that's working in Penny's favor, again, is the draft capital. You're talking about a 7th round pick versus a 1st round pick. And I know Carson has been their guy for the past 3 years now, but if Penny is over the leg injury, and it was a pretty devastating one, he suffered multiple tears on the play that he got hurt in 2019. It was pretty gruesome. You knew that the diagnosis came back pretty quickly, where it was going to be like, Rashad Penny's not playing in 2020. As it turns out, he did. He got in a little bit of work at the end of the season. He was inactive for their one playoff game, to the surprise of nobody. But he got game time under his belt in 2020. I'll call that a win, given the injury that he suffered and the time frame that it was expected for him as far as having to make a recovery. Now, he's presumably as healthy as he can be going into this 2021 offseason. And I have to imagine the Seahawks want to give him every opportunity if, 1, he is healthy, and 2, Chris Carson walks. And both of those seem to be the case right now.
He is a value if he can stay healthy, and I don't think he can stay healthy. He came in his first year. He was supposed to take the reins from Chris Carson, and he didn't because he got a hand injury. And then even when he came back, Chris Carson just ran away with it because Chris Carson was the clear better back in that backfield. Second year, he was supposed to do the same thing. Came in, had a few hot games, broke his leg in multiple different places, and they gave him the time People said he was going to come back after week 6 when he was going to be able to be activated off the PUP list last season, and they waited until literally the last 3 games to throw him in there, and they gave him minimal work. But he still only got 3.1 yards per carry when he came back after having basically a season and a half, if not even a little bit more, to recover from that. Not just a season and 2/3. All right. Well, at the end of the day, we can argue in circles. I think we're going to end up doing that because I think we value him differently. Nick, where do you value him? Do you think he's an RB2?
No, not right now. I think so. I'm looking specifically right now at best ball. I'm throwaway for a second, throwaway dynasty, throwaway keeper, and I don't, unless
from that perspective, I agree with you. Throw one of your late rounder picks, or even go mid round at Rashad Penny and get him a little bit higher than even his ADP, just to ensure that you got him, because he could be a lottery ticket if he stays healthy.
That's my point here. If he stays healthy, I don't care if he's 70% of what the Seahawks were expecting when they drafted him. Out of necessity, he's going to get work. Will he be a bell cow? I'm not ready to say that yet, because again, they do have other pieces in that backfield. But if Chris Carson walks, and that is looking pretty likely today, when his ADP is, I said 144. It's actually closer to 145. It's 144.9. So I know I'm splitting hairs there, but I just want to make sure I'm being accurate. You're talking about drafting an RB5. You're talking about a guy in best ball who, if you are drafting running backs high like you should in best ball, this is not a dude you're going to have to worry about. If he doesn't work out, it's not going to hurt you. But if he does, and does return RB3 or better value, 140 picks into the draft, like you said, lottery ticket.
Now, for everybody who's listening to this and is in a redraft or a keeper or a dynasty league, where do you think he's going to finish the year?
So for redraft, don't draft him. Today. Obviously that'll change if he's the starter. He will be drafted. If you're in a dynasty league, I think he's a hold if you are thin at running back. If you could upgrade somewhere, maybe you can find an owner that likes Penny and ship him for a piece. Keeper, he's not a keeper option right now. Let's be real. He hasn't done enough yet to warrant keeper status, because, keeper, you're not keeping your whole team. You probably have better options. Even if you went out of your way to add Rashad Penny in a keeper league at the end of the season, he's probably not an option. Now, you could be holding out for that lottery ticket best case scenario where, it's August and he's looking great in camp and boom, he gets named the starter. Maybe you have either a trade piece or a decision to make for your roster, but that's too early to speculate. Right now, where you can win with Rashad Penny is if you play best ball. That's where you can take advantage of the no news right now. That's where you can take advantage.
Okay, I think we're meeting in the middle here.
You're warming up
in the middle here. I like it.
Okay, we were on a collision course, and then we slowed down and shook hands and said, "Wait a minute, we got this figured out."
Which is what the world needs more of. But moving on. I want to talk a little bit here about what the Seahawks can do from a cap perspective to get a little bit more breathing room, to maybe sign a guy that has a little bit more cachet to his name, and just get your impression on who are guys that could end up there in this scenario. So I had already said that the Seahawks have $2.3 million in cap space. They also have a 32-year-old Carlos Dunlap, who played less than half of their snaps at defensive end, who's making $14 million next year. And he has $0 million dead cap. So my inference, looking at that, the whole picture, they have $2.3 million cap space and can save $14 million by cutting an aging guy for free, who's going to be gone the year after that anyway, in 2022. That puts them at 16 mil cap space. And I think that gives them enough cap space to then sign one of these guys that are available in free agency. So what do you think? Who are some options for them to pick up here and spark some excitement in their run game?
Well, I have to first imagine that if they are able to clear up cap space, that they will prioritize trying to sign an offensive lineman, especially without having that first round pick. But if they have money left over to spend for running back, and that's what they choose to do, I mean, they could bring Carlos Hyde back. They're now familiar with him, obviously. He played there last year. Maybe if they're happy with what he was able to give them. He's going to be 31, so maybe that's less enticing for them. But, they could theoretically, they could try to go for Leonard Fournette. He's a free agent. Now, maybe Fournette just decides to re-up with Tampa because he gets to play with the team that just won the Super Bowl. Would make a lot of sense. If they wanted to go even cheaper, Mark Ingram is out there. Well, Mark Ingram would be more expensive, I would think, than Leonard Fournette, but maybe not significantly. But Mark Ingram is out there. He would be a guy that fits what Seattle historically likes to do. They have like a power type of run game that's a little bit more their style, and Ingram would provide that. So would Fournette. But again, I would have to, my money would be on Fournette goes back to Tampa. If the 49ers decide to move on from Tevin Coleman, he's an option, although he's been a little bit uninspiring over the past couple of years. The big name, if they wanted to splurge, let me caveat by saying I don't think they're going to do this, but they could sign Kenyon Drake away from the Cardinals. He's still not that old. He's only 27. He's going to cost more. He's probably going to cost more than what Chris Carson's going to cost, but he's an option. Ultimately, I would say probably not. Again, I think a lot of whatever money they are able to free up will go to offensive line. So, Mark Ingram is a name to me that would make sense and would, certainly be a compliment as far as playing style if they wanted to make Penny a guy that they prioritize as getting work in the backfield.
I got two guys here that I think could also be interesting and also be on the lower end of the spectrum as far as what you would have to spend to get them. And that's Mike Davis, who performed like a perfectly legitimate running back 2, high-end running back 2 for his team while they needed him. And he was good last year. And if you remember, he started his career out in Seattle. So they actually, that regime knows him. They went out and drafted him, so they like him to a certain extent. And now they saw what he could do in a full-time role and a team that uses him correctly. So that's obvious that he's 28 years old. He's going to be 29. So he's not a guy that they're going to have to pay a ton of money to, but he's a guy that can go out there and perform and be a mentor to some of the young guys that they have. So I think that's a possibility there. And I also think a possibility would be Todd Gurley. Because Todd Gurley, I don't think he's going to cost you a ton of money anymore. I don't have the figures on what he cost Atlanta for that one season in Atlanta.
It was $5 million, 1 year for $5
million. There you go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he would fit right in there. He performed like a low-end running back 1 for points of the year last season. Early in the year, for probably those first 8 games, he was there. And then he kind of tailed off because he's older now, and we all know he has that arthritic knee. But if you're going to keep a guy fresh, give him 15 touches a game, and want him to perform like a high-end RB2, I think you could do worse than a guy like Todd Gurley, and I think that's kind of the type of guy that they're looking for.
I guess I just don't know what to do with Todd Gurley at this point. I'm not sure what his overall future is in the NFL. I mean, could Seattle do it? I guess
I didn't see what his overall future was in the NFL going to Atlanta last season, but he did what he did, and he was still a valuable fantasy player for long stretches of the year last year. So I think if he went to another team who's much more run oriented, and if they do fix their issues in the run game and fix their issues on the O-line, I think that could do a lot worse than Todd Gurley. Do you want to? And I think he'd come on the cheap because of exactly your sentiments, Nick. You're kind of like, I don't want to invest in this guy. It's Todd Gurley. He's done.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think he's done.
But I think that's exactly the same mindset everybody else is out there. And even if he is done, Seattle signs done running backs. They do. Look, I've said it twice during this pod. Carlos Hyde and Marshawn Lynch last season. I'm pretty sure if Tim Hightower was still out there, they'd be trying to knock his door down. I mean, they love their old aging running backs who everybody thinks are pretty much over the hill. And I think that fits Todd Gurley to a T.
He looked so slow in the second half of the season. I can't. I think they would. I think this is just instinct. They would prefer to roll with Penny and what they currently have.
The truth will bear itself out, and we shall see come football season 2021. What do you guys think? Is there any guy that we did not talk about? What do you guys think? Put your thoughts in the comment section below. This is the Face Mask Podcast. Thank you for listening. All right, if you're listening to this, we got a little special thing here for you. It's like a post-credits thing from Marvel.
Well, encore?
Yeah, we're going to talk about ice cream. Top 5, Nick. What are your top 5 ice creams?
My top 5 ice creams.
Yeah, top 5 flavors. Let's go.
It's fun. It's so funny that this is the question because I have cut out pretty much like all other sweets. I just so happen to I can't quit ice cream, but I think right now I gotta go cookie dough. I fucking love cookie dough, man. It's so tasty. You get because it's vanilla. Everybody, vanilla's. I guess vanilla's a little basic, but it works. It can support so many things. So you got the chocolate chip compliment, and then it's like the best little treat of all. There's a little ball of cookie dough just chilling, waiting for you, and you don't know where it's gonna be. It's awesome. I guess I also like sticking with chocolate chips, but of the mint variety.
No, don't.
I know this is highly
overrated ice cream out there.
You're overrated. No, you're overrated. Mint chocolate chip is really good. I don't care if it's white. I don't care if it's green. I don't care what it looks like. I'm eating it. I really like it. Maybe it's not like my top 2, but it's definitely in my top 5. What is in my top 5 that I haven't had for a while is Moose Tracks. That shit is awesome.
What is Moose Tracks? Explain it to me.
You don't know what Moose Tracks is? Okay, yeah. I don't know how well I can describe it, but I think it's basically like it's like a vanilla chocolate swirl with peanut butter cups in it.
Yeah, I never like peanut butter in my ice cream.
You?
I never like peanut butter in my ice cream, bro.
What do you do with ice cream? What do you have, like oatmeal raisin over there, or some weird grandma ice cream?
No, bro. Like, yo, you cannot fuck with strawberry cheesecake ice cream. I'm sorry. You cannot fuck with strawberry cheesecake ice cream.
I 100% agree with you.
I 100% agree with you on a chocolate chip cookie dough. It's one of my fucking faves.
Shit's bomb.
Yeah. By the way, we're swearing on this little.
It's ice cream. We get passionate about this.
Yeah. I don't give a shit. All right.
Wait, let me get the official thing on Moose Tracks. I think I explained it right. It's vanilla ice cream with peanut butter cups and fudge. So, okay, so it's not chocolate ice cream, but it's fudge and peanut butter mixed in to a vanilla ice cream. Again, vanilla, you can do anything with.
Makes it a little bit better, but it wouldn't be up there for me.
You're out your damn mind.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got 2 other ones, and they're weird, bro, because I lived overseas for a large part of my childhood, so I ate some just kind of out there ice cream flavors, and they're not ones that you can get here. But pear ice cream is the fucking shit.
Sounds like a sorbet flavor.
It almost is, but
or a sherbet.
But I mean,
you're
go
cheating.
to Spain, go to Barcelona. There's a place.
I can't. There's a pandemic.
Well, once it ends.
When it's over, I'll go to Spain and get some pear ice cream and immediately fly back after I get disappointed by it.
They have everything. They have everything.
What's your other weird flavor?
banana,
Yo, you're fired.
and mango. Yeah, those are my shits, yo.
Your name is Sherbets.
Chocolate chip cookie, though.
Your name is Sherbets.
No, I'm not. You can get mango ice cream.
It's called a sherbet.
No, it's not. That's
Mango.
sherbet is sorbet is different than ice cream.
Like ice cream is double
strawberry
fudge.
ice cream
Double
is different than
fudge is
strawberry
ice cream.
sorbet, bro.
Well, I would
Same
give
difference.
me my
Same
double
thing.
fudge. I would rather put chocolate on chocolate in that shit. Put
All
a
right.
brownie in there.
All right.
Slice
Pardon
the
me.
brownie up. Double fudge.
Pardon me for liking fruity flavored ice cream.
Yeah, you are fruity flavored ice cream.
Yo. That should be my fantasy team name. Oh, yes.
Yeah, fantasy
Fruity-flavored ice
football,
cream.
fruity flavor.
Yeah, Fluty Flakes. Yeah, go Bills.
we got like fruity pebbled ice cream over here.
Fluty, not fruity.
Oh god,
Doug
no.
Flutie, yes.
Even worse. I don't want to cop out and say like just Neapolitan. That's a classic. Everybody can eat those, but
There's something to be said about a scoop of a chocolate.
Oh, no
vanilla,
doubt.
And strawberry.
Oh yeah, no, that's the classic. I don't know what I would put in my top 5 outside of it. I'm a pretty basic ice cream eater when it comes to picking flavors. I will say this: salted caramel. That's what I'll put in there. Salted caramel is delicious.
If we're allowed to throw in like a 6-man into
Go
our
for
ice
it.
cream, dulce de leche ice cream.
Yeah, I think I have had that before. Okay, I'll give you that one. That's
Yes.
pretty good.
Yes,
That's pretty
That might
solid.
that might even take one of the 5 spots. I think I got to reshuffle. That's definitely in my top 5 spots. I think
Get
I got to
the pear
take.
out of there. Get the pear out of there. Pear
Okay,
ass.
fine. All right. All right. We're taking the pear out. Pear is the 6-man. We got
Pear can come off the bench.
chocolate chip cookie dough, strawberry cheesecake, dulce de leche, mango, not sorbet ice cream,
Okay,
and banana, not sorbet ice cream.
I'm going cookie dough. So that's the only one we're in agreement on. That's okay. I like my mint choco. I don't care what you say. Moose tracks, double
Radioactive
fudge.
colored friggin' ice cream.
It hasn't killed me yet. And salted caramel. Those are my top 5.
All right.
If I have to go honorable mention like you, I'll just go classic Neapolitan because I can.
All right, you guys. I think we got I think we got enough of that. But I think this was fun.
Yeah, this was the most savage we've been on this.
If anybody in the comment section
Ice cream.
has has another suggestion of a post credits argument for Nick and I to have where we really get heated and come at each other's character.
This is the most passionate we have been so far as disagreeing on something.
Yes. Oh, I
Here
love it,
for it.
man. I love it. All right, thank you guys for listening, and have y'all a beautiful day and go eat some ice cream.
Yeah, go get some ice cream.